All right, what it do, YouTube family? It's your girl, I go by Neek. I know it's been a minute since I tapped in, but today I want to talk about this contract, Finesse2Tymes. If you guys don't know, he's a rapper. He signed to Mob Ties. That's a record label in Houston, Texas. I want to say they're located. The first thing is the U.S. album royalties. So it says that the artist gets 35% of the net royalties the company receives from US album sales. So for his first LP, no less than 14% of the royalties. The second one, no less than 14.5. The third, 15. And the fourth and fifth, no less than 16. JPE gets 30% of the company's net royalties. It says that JPE's shares cannot be more than 50% of what's left after the artists get paid. This means that the artist gets paid first and then JPE splits what remains. Now, foreign international royalties, that's down here. It says that the artist gets 35% of the company's foreign international royalties. JPE gets 30% of the royalties. Now, down here, we talk about the merchandising rights. It says the company gets exclusive worldwide rights to his name, his image, his likeness, and his biogeographical material. This includes his merch, tours, endorsements, sponsorships, fan clubs, and something called bounce back merch. It's very, very broad. Now, merch money. It says after deducting all costs, such as production and licensing and marketing, the artist is going to get 35% and JPE is going to get 30%. The remaining portion stays with the company. Now, the company in question is Mob Ties. That's what I want you guys to know. The artist does have approval rights, but cannot be reasonably withheld. So the artist can't just block things without a real reason. That's basically what that means. Now, on the next page, we talk about ancillary rights joint venture. So this covers side income. Anytime you hit a word ancillary, this covers side money. This ancillary income comes in forms of TV, film, brand deals, appearances, licensing, and other non-music revenue. So the split for his ancillary income, he gets 70, the company gets 15, and JPE gets the other 15. So he does own the majority of the money made off of the merch, but he doesn't actually own the rights to the merch. Now, control. It says that JPE is the managing member. JPE has final say on business and administrative decisions. JPE has control over paying bills and distributing money. The artist has creative control. If there's a dispute, JPE's decision wins. So it says even though the artist owns 70%, JPE controls the business side. Artist gets 70% of all net receipts. So net is the money received minus expenses. The company, Mob Ties, and JPE does not reduce their shares if ancillary income is lowered by distribution agreement. So there's something called a old settlement agreement. This is between Finesse and Moneybagg Yo. So this is in reference to an older deal. It says joint project split. It says Finesse would get 70% and Moneybagg Yo would get 30%. But Finesse's 70% is split. So out of the Finesse's 70%, Finesse will actually get 25, Mob Ties will get 25, and JPE will get 20. Now he has an advance recoupment. There is a $100,000 obligation tied to royalties. This advance is split. It says that Finesse took home $35,000, Mob Ties took home $35,000, and JPE took home $30,000. So in this contract, there are some positive things for the artist. So he does have high royalty percentages. So 70% ownership of the ancillary income, and he has creative control. The risk or red flags in his contract, it says that JPE controls business decisions even when artist owns more. Merch rights are very broad and exclusive. Net definition allows heavy cost deduction. So anytime you see the word net in a contract, just know that comes after expenses. When expenses start to pile up and rack up, your money dwindles. And the other risk or red flag in this contract is the artist may not control money flow timing, meaning when the money is made, Finesse does not control when he gets paid. JPE is in control. So Finesse owns most of the money on paper, but JPE controls how the money is handled, when it's paid, and how decisions are made. So it's not a terrible contract. It's just he don't control the business. Whoever JPE is, they are controlling the business. Every major payment section uses net instead of gross. That is a red flag. This means before you get paid, they are going to deduct marketing, overhead, legal, third-party fees, distribution fees, licensing fees. So a deal that looks 35% or 70% can shrink fast. So you might want to renegotiate how that is. Fix the cap deductions. So cap the deductions at 15 to 20% and exclude internal overhead, affiliate company charges, require detailed accounting. Now, with his merch rights is extremely broad because they are getting exclusive rights to his name, his image, his likeness, his biogeographical material, endorsements, sponsorships, tour merch, fan clubs, even non-music merch and endorsements are included. Now, this creates a problem because you can lose control over your brand deals. You can lose control over clothing collaborations, and you can lose control over your personal image. So if he's only caring about money, this is a good deal for him. But if he's caring about control, which probably is one of his issues, then there's a lot of things that need to be renegotiated. His approval rights are weak because it says shall not be unreasonably withheld. This favors them, not the artist, because what happened is if you say no, they can say unreasonable, and then they can go ahead and push forward whatever. So if you want to fix this, he want to define the approval standards clearly, require written consent, such as image uses, endorsements, and political or controversial branding. Now, it does say that JPE gets paid in almost every category. JPE earns 30% of royalties, 30% of foreign royalties, 30% of merch net, okay? 15% ownership in ancillary, control over the JV, and a piece of settlement obligations. This is management plus label plus partner. Power control. It's a conflict of interest. JPE has their hand in the pot all around. So, what this looks like in real money. For example, an ancillary deal brings in $1 million. Cost deducted, $250,000. You have $750,000 left. Your percentage is 70%. That's $525,000. But JPE controls when it's paid. They control expense approval, and they have no forced payout timeline. Now, what's good about this contract, I know I said it's not a terrible contract. It's kind of like the standard, but he does have high percentages in money. So again, he does have strong percentages. 70% ownership is very rare. He does have his creative control preserved. He does have the minimum royalty rate. And he has written splits. The deal is not trash, but he doesn't really have any power. So the things that he should possibly negotiate is he should limit JPE's final authority. He should have a mandatory payout schedule. He should have audit rights. He needs to cap deductions. He needs to narrow merch and endorsement rights. And he needs to clarify approval language.